All right, we are live. Yep, I believe we are. Everyone can see and hear us okay? Um, yeah, welcome everybody to another edition of our Sunday Watch Parties. I am joined by Mr. Furzel today. He's looking a little a little sick.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. I just forgot to spit out my mouthwash.
It's a classic bit.
Okay, sorry. Let's get rid of that.
Oh, that's classic. Welcome, Mr. Furzel. Welcome to all of you in the chat. We are going to be watching Cujo today. Um, the original, I believe it's in I want to say 1983, thereabouts. I guess Netflix is in discussion for a remake. I don't know if it's done. I don't know the status of that, but just what Hollywood is gonna do their own remake. Um, so we are set to cue it up at about 2 seconds in,
Yep.
depending on your copy. If you're watching it on DVD, I'm watching it on an Amazon rental. So I'm about 2 seconds in at the Taft Entertainment Company logo. Miss Swift over there in Discord, nope, not that dog. That's Snoop Dogg. Um, so yeah, if we're all queued up, this movie is about hour and a half, little over an hour and a half. Should be a nice quick watch. Um, yeah, give you all a second to get queued up, and then Mr. Furzel, if you would like to count us down, we'll get a move on.
Sure thing. All right, guys. Press play in five, four, three, two, one. Press play.
All right, there we go. Um, All right, let's do a shout out. This movie just takes a few minutes to get moving. We have in our chats today, YouTube, we have Eric, we have Calbot, Matt, Johnny Devitt, Miss Swift. Let's see. I think we got you all over there on YouTube. Welcome, one and all. Over there in Discord. Let's see. Make sure I got you all. Cowbot, Miss Swift. I know Matt was posting over there. Um, who else? Cowbot is over there as well. Did I get everybody? I think I did. Welcome everybody. Um, this um Sith's sister over there in Discord is not going to be joining us today. This hits a little too close to home for her. Um, I I get that. This happened about a year ago, right after I moved to this small little town. My dog was on a leash. I was walking her, and she was attacked by our two neighbor dogs on
Hmm.
my property. My dog's okay. Thankfully, I took her to the vet. But so this is kind of my way of healing through that trauma that I saw, is through the movies. And
Yep.
I'm able to see it's all make believe, and we have a nice cuddly dog over here,
Hmm.
Cujo. And to all of you that have had shit happen to your dogs, it sucks.
Yep.
um yeah. But yeah, let's just enjoy this movie. We have a nice Saint Bernard puppy dog,
Hmm.
Cujo chasing a rabbit, and this is where the shit hits the fan.
And
um
it's interesting. I just noticed in the credits that Jan de Bont was the DP in this one. The guy that would famously go on to be the DP with Die Hard, and then he would direct Speed.
Yeah, good eyes, good connection on that. Um, so okay, let's check out the chat. Eric, yes. So did anyone here read the book? Yes,
Nope.
back in the 80s, in the early 80s, this was Stephen King's heyday. He was writing a book every year. A movie of his was coming out every year, every other year. I had read the book before I had seen the movie, I believe, because that's usually how it goes. I would read the book and then the movie would have inevitably come out. The book was about 10 times more heartbreaking than this movie. So for anyone that has not seen this movie, you probably know how it ends. You probably know the gist of what happens to poor Cujo. Um, but if we could try to, not do spoilers, but the story of Cujo is pretty much been out there for decades.
Yeah.
Um, and so the ending of the book is much different than the ending in this movie. Um, Yes, Mad Matt. Introducing Danny Pintero. I thought Who's the Boss was earlier than this. Yeah, this, I guess, was his first movie appearance. I have not seen his IMDb page or done any research on him, but this was actually before Who's the Boss? Um, by, I think, 1 or 2 years. Who's the Boss came out maybe 2 years after, 1 or 2 years after this. Oh, Miss Swift over there in Discord posted a picture of Danny and Dee that looks like a recent picture.
Hmm.
Yeah, looks like, yeah, he's grown up.
Hmm.
Matt says 1 year earlier. It came out 1 year earlier, or yeah. Eric says, I saw this movie only once. I was horrified.
Hmm.
Um, this is Yeah, I mean, for dog lovers and non-dog lovers alike, this is a very different kind of scary movie.
Yeah.
Cujo before Who's the Boss. Thank you, Matt.
I mean, I think it's also tragic because not only does it deal with a dog, which obviously we have a lot of personal experience with, a lot of us, but also just the fact that he starts out just a normal dog, happy go lucky, whatever, and all it takes is just this disease, essentially, this bite that just takes him out of his mind and turns him into something monstrous, and then he has to deal with that. Others have to deal with him, and it's just it's almost like a body horror kind of thing. The way that like someone starts out good and nice and they just kind of slowly transform into literally like a monster, and then they have to be dealt with as such.
Yeah, and through no fault of his own,
Right.
he does turn into a monster. This is kind of Stephen King's stomping ground. He takes an ordinary rural setting. This is set in Castle Rock, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, and it just this cute little dog all of a sudden turns into the monster of the movie. Um, and I find myself, and you guys will probably agree, you feel sorry for the dog. He didn't
Yeah.
choose this. That the people around the dog have to react. Um, yeah, and this is kind of an, I'm not going to say an oddball kind of movie. It's just a horror movie with a twist because you absolutely feel for the dog. Um, and there are a couple kills coming up that I absolutely don't feel sorry for the dog. Um, so yeah, there you go, guys. Um, we're introduced to this family with Dee Wallace Stone playing the mom. She's so good at playing the mom.
Hmm.
Um, her husband does make an appearance in this film, and I believe they were married at the time. Um, Christopher Stone is actually not the star of the movie.
Mm.
I want to say it's not Brian Keith. That's not the name of the husband. Um,
He's definitely familiar, but can't quite place his name. I've seen him in a few
Daniel
other things.
Kelly. Daniel Kelly, that's his
Yeah,
name.
sounds about right.
David Keith is another actor. I think he was really big in the TV scene back in the 80s. Um, Eric said, okay, read the book a year ago, was horrified again. There's just no getting around it. This is not, uh, this is a Stephen King, what, story out of his
Mhm.
nightmarish mind. Um, the story has it that he doesn't remember writing the book because this was his, what, cocaine fueled
Yeah.
decade, his period of writing where he was just so high on cocaine. Um, but I can't help but feel that what a genius it is that he can write a book like this so out of his mind on drugs, and that is talent. And it's
Yeah.
not forgiving the drug use, of course, because it was prevalent in the 80s, but with all of that talent in his head he can still pour out this book. um
And I think it also works
yeah.
just for the simplicity of it. You know, it's just basically a dog, a mom, a son, and set in pretty much one place most of the time. But I mean, it's scary because it's simple and it also seems realistic, like something that could potentially happen, as opposed to some of the other supernatural threats that King was known for creating.
So true. He can take a mundane setting, small town, and turn the horror from the ordinary, from the mundane, um, and just scare the crap out of you. And he did it with it. Um, he did it with Salem's Lot. Needful Things was also set in a small town, I believe. Um, uh, I can go on and on. And then he does have his sci-fi side. I think Tommyknockers was definitely on the sci-fi.
Mhm.
What is it? Nightmare and Dreamscapes was kind of on the sci-fi story side. Um, yeah. Um, okay. Oh, Matt is saying, yeah, my first time watching, knowing what to expect, this movie is now rather tame. Yeah. Very good point, Mad Matt. Stephen King may have had a troubled youth.
Hmm.
Um, I believe this story in particular came out of an incident, or so Stephen King says, an incident from his youth where he was actually on a bicycle and went to a neighbor's farm house, and he was on his bike and a dog from the house charged at him.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's how he developed this story.
Oh, I thought there was an affair involved in this story somewhere.
Yep. So we are knee deep into the affair that she's having with, I believe the backstory is he's an ex-boyfriend from high school. I think that's how they
Hmm.
kind of played it in the book.
Yeah, I don't remember ever reading the book myself, and I don't think I never saw this in theaters. I think I probably saw bits and pieces of it for a while, and then only watched it all together, probably many years later. Does anyone in the chat, anybody in Discord, anyone ever actually had a Saint Bernard?
And do we have a lot of dog lovers watching? So this came out in 83. This was a year after E.T. Um, there were a lot of, I want to, a lot. This was Dee Wallace was great at playing the mom, the wholesome mom. And now she gets to play one with a little bit of an edge. We know that she's cheating. Um, we don't know anything else. Oh, Johnny Devitt likes cats.
Hmm.
Yes, Matt, they met at a retreat for werewolves because Dee Wallace and Christopher Stone starred in The Howling 2 years earlier. Yes, they did.
Hmm. Eric says that he never had one, but friends of his had a Saint Bernard. He was a nice. He was acted much like a lap dog, but obviously, they're very big. So it's kind of reminds me of my brother and his wife. They actually had like a pit bull mix. Well, they still do. But I remember back in the day, same thing. He would just jump right up into my lap and lay down on me. But he was like 80, 90 pounds.
Very lovable lapdog.
You know.
So around this time, she had done E.T. She had done Critters in 86.
Hmm.
Um, interesting. Okay, she was in The Hills Have Eyes. Does
Hmm.
anybody remember her in that? The Hills Have Eyes with Dee Wallace, wholesome mom.
Hmm.
Um, all right, so let me mention as the story just keeps bebopping along. Um, you guys are probably aware that just a couple days ago we lost another Hollywood icon, legend at the top of his game, Robert Duvall.
Hmm.
Um, and he's another one of the giants. His filmography is just infinite. Um, he has done everything, been in everything, and was so good in everything. Um, and there was a lot of mention in the chat about Andrew brought it up. One of the last movie that Creator VC did for their watch party was Secondhand Lions. He was so good in that. And it reminds me of some of his other really good ones. The one he won an Oscar for, Tender Mercies, Lonesome
Hmm.
Dove, um, Apocalypse Now, what?
Yep.
The Godfather, you name it.
Yep. Days of
Um,
Thunder.
yep. And we are going to be doing one of his movies. If not next week, I think then the week after. Um, and okay, this is the first time we're seeing Cujo post bat bite. Does anybody know how long it takes once a dog gets bit for them to start displaying what the aggression? So yeah, what's like the incubation period?
Hmm. Good question.
Yeah. Matt is saying I had a golden retriever, black lab, golden lab, and two mutts all at the same time. Oh my God, sweet. All
Hmm.
five dogs love to sleep in our bed. Yeah. And yeah, Eric says, yeah, it seems like no month goes by for someone passes away. Yeah, we're losing some of the giants. Yeah. Eric is posting over there in Discord. One of the most famous, iconic lines from any movie is Apocalypse Now. I
Hmm.
love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, Apocalypse Now would be an interesting movie for us to watch. It is a long one. I'm not opposed to it. We can handle long movies. I just wouldn't want to do it every week.
It does have a
Um,
couple of versions too, unless I'm mistaken. A couple of different
yeah,
releases.
yeah, and supposedly, so Apocalypse Now has the original version, which is what, 2.5 hours? That's the theatrical. And then there was a Redux cut from the negative that added like a half hour to it. So the Redux is like 3 hours long. But then supposedly I had heard the original then doesn't exist because they had to cut the original negative. So that doesn't make any sense because you can still find the original theatrical cut. Um, so there you go.
Hmm.
Johnny Devick is saying when it starts showing symptoms, it's too late to have a vaccine, then it's madness and death. Oh, yeah. Robert Duvall was in Days of Thunder. That
Yep.
was um, one of Tom Cruise's earlier performances, I believe.
Yep.
Days of Thunder was 1990. No, I guess Tom Cruise was kind of already a star, wasn't he? Yeah, he was
Yeah.
on the map in 1990.
I think that was one of the first movies I think I probably saw in theater was Days of Thunder. And then I remember I think Hershey Park might still have the ride there too.
Ooh, that'd be a good one to do.
Yeah. I'll be right back. I
Yeah,
gotta let His Highness upstairs.
there you go. Mm. All right. Hey, back to the movie. It is kind of a slow going movie. Um, this is like a very contained cast. I think really there's maybe seven main characters. We saw um, in one of the previous scenes, we saw actually Cujo's owner, which I don't feel sympathy for. Um, although being a terrible dog owner doesn't place the blame for Cujo's rabies. But it kind of sets up for things to come. Um, yeah, Eric. Okay, that guy reminds me of Will Ferrell. Oh, with the hair, yes, yeah, he does. Um, and I keep wanting to say his name is Brian Keith, but it's not. Daniel Hugh Kelly, and I think we know him from. He was a big TV star, I believe. He didn't really make it big in the movies. Um, and I uh, Hardcastle and McCormick. That's the show I was thinking of.
Hmm.
That's the show. Um, so yeah, he did have a big TV following. Um, yeah, and now I'm starting to feel like really bad for Cujo.
Hmm.
Um, in the book, I remember, and I've only read the book once when it first came out. I believe the book went into the mindset of Cujo where you could kind of follow along on his journey to madness. I guess that's a good way of putting it. Um, in the movie, not so much. It's kind of hard to get into the mind of a dog. Unless, okay, the movie Good Boy. Who's seen Good Boy, where the whole movie is set from the perspective of the dog? Um,
Heard about that one, but I never got around a chance to seeing it.
yeah, and it has gotten rave reviews. The dog is like the center of the movie. The narrative revolves around the dog. I haven't seen it either. It's on my to watch list.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Miss Swift. Okay, Hardcastle and McCormick, and I Married Dora. I Married Dora. Never heard of it. Is it? Oh, it is a show, isn't it? 1987 to 1988. There you go. He was a TV star back in the day. Yes, Calbot. She's driving a Pinto in 1983. That's scarier than the rabid dog.
I,
Yes.
li- I like that Calbot also posted a little GIF from Top Secret, just a Pinto getting tapped. Well, also a trope just of general car crashes, how it seems like cars will just explode with the slightest little provocation. But definitely truer for Pintos too, and Edsels.
Yeah. So I think the Pinto's life was short-lived after they literally would explode after they got rear-ended. And supposedly King also drove a Pinto.
Huh.
So he brings this all into the narrative. And okay, this affair, I mean, you're bound to get caught. I guess it's just a matter of time.
Well, speak of it.
Yep. Um, you, you're like doing it in the
he's,
open.
he's just
Of course,
doing a U.
someone's gonna drive by. Um, yeah, interesting. Matt says it seems this movie plot may be an allegory for something other than a scary dog. Yes. In Stephen King's mind and his world, nothing is ever really simple, and he can tell a simple story, but with layer after layer of deeper meanings. And they seem to all revolve around a small town,
Yeah.
and all the hidden, what, deplorable people, deplorable behavior, all of the stuff that lies under the surface of a perfect small town, quote
Hmm.
unquote, you know?
And I like how they filmed it that as he does the U turn and comes around, then they're gone. So it's almost like he could convince himself, wait a minute, was I seeing something? Was it like my own insecurities, making me hallucinate? So it's not like it's a slam dunk yet, but certainly he's got to be having suspicions now.
Yeah.
And going back to what you mentioned before, Sharon, I think that's an interesting idea when authors, especially when they're writing horror stories surrounding an animal or some sort of force, and they try to, give us the perspective of that, inanimate or inhuman force. That reminds me of like Peter Benchley when he did Jaws, because he would, write some
Mm.
portions of chapters from the shark's perspective, not just Brody and everybody else. It seems like it's a lot easier to convey that in film, because we can actually put the camera behind the creature's eyes and add music. But, then in a novel, it's you're basically giving like all of the thoughts or feelings, or, you kind of decide like how sentient the thing really is, the threat that's going after our protagonists.
So interesting. I had not read the book Jaws. Um, and that, I think that would even be harder to take this perspective of a great white shark.
Mm,
But really, a great white shark in the ocean is just doing what they've been bred to do.
right.
Um, but in order to get perspective, if you take the shark's perspective or give us a little insight, makes them a bit more sympathetic. Just
Yep.
like in the book Cujo, getting into the dog's mindset makes you feel extremely sympathetic for it.
Yep.
It's going mad by just being a dog. All he did was, get into a hole where chasing a bat.
Yep. And like Cujo, Jaws the book ended up being very different from the film. In fact, the book was, in some ways, a little more tragic, and there was also even a fair subplot in the Jaws book that they just kind of abandoned for the film.
Interesting. That might be something to visit.
Yeah.
The book turns 50, came out in 1974, so it's actually that's that is old.
You
This
also got to
guy
give,
right here, I feel no sympathy for.
yeah.
Um,
And this kind of character shows up in a lot of King's fiction, the books adapted from his fiction. So, but going back to what you said before, I mean, maybe King knew several guys like this, just drunk, abusive, kind of POSs.
he revisited that plot in Dolores Claiborne as well. Um, that, of course, that yeah, I'm thinking back as I read the book and also saw the movie Dolores Claiborne. Um, Very simple story idea, but with Stephen King's mind, he turned it into something very horrific, supernatural in a way.
Yep.
Um, Different outcome for the guy in that book than this one. Well, sort of. Um, so in the okay, so the she's telling him in this plot right here, this little plot point, that she won the lottery. It seems kind of far-fetched, but in the book, she also won the lottery, and it's like for real. She won the lottery and she wants to go away. It's not because he's an abusive asshole to her. She's
Mm.
not like trying to run away. She's actually just going away on vacation for a week. Um, which okay, I don't I don't buy it, but it seems like just a random element to this movie that shows up. But here we see Cujo getting a little bit more uneasy as the rabies kind of takes hold of him.
They're
Um,
it's almost like they're framing it like it's like the noise is but like he's more sensitive to like noise or maybe more sensitive to light. I wonder if that is part of the symptoms of that disease, or if that was just a device that the filmmakers used to justify him kind of getting riled up and finally losing his cherub like demeanor.
that's a very interesting point. Does anybody know? Oh, I think there was a mention of like the stages. Was there a mention of the stages of rabies, or was it just that comment about um, once you start showing the symptoms? Because I think you're right, Mr. Furzel. It's he's changing from the cute little puppy dog, carefree dog, to now being agitated, um, not liking sound, not liking light, and we can see him getting a little bit more agitated. He's going to start getting a little bit more aggressive. Um, yeah. Matt is saying Cujo has his senses heightened just like Daredevil.
Huh.
That is true.
And I am kind of glad that, also alluding to what we talked about before, we mentioned the incubation period. I don't know how accurate this film is in depicting it, but I like that it's not instantaneous. Like it's definitely taking several hours for Cujo to kind of have this happen to him, and you kind of see like the different stages. Like first, it just starts with kind of the open wound on his nose, and then you start seeing discharge, and before you know it, he'll be all coated in mud and dirt and blood. And you really got to give it to the makeup artist and whoever the dog trainer was, because they really did create an image of just a ferocious dog that's gone mad and totally transformed from a lovable pet to, a killing machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we know in the movie, no harm did come to the dog. Some of the scenes was actually a guy in a dog suit. Um, yeah, this scene, Steve is being a complete dick.
Yeah.
Um, Not cool. They do have on-screen chemistry, and I think it makes it a little bit more believable.
Hmm.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
her house. Is this her house?
Well, it's got to be because both her son and her husband are there.
And he had the gall to do that in her house?
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
So there you go. Matt is saying Steve was just doing what he was bred to do. This is who Steve was, an arrogant prick who was prone to this kind of violence.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I know that, and I know this is fiction, but I also know that there are guys like this out there that just feel so like they're entitled to whatever, whenever, and it's just like, where did you get that? Where did you think that that applies to you?
No, a lot of times it comes from the home. That's what they were raised in. Um, but why he didn't just deck Steve?
Yeah.
Because his wife was passing it off as an accident. Okay. But I think in the book, the whole affair was obviously they had a lot more to say about it. Um, it might have to be a book that I revisit because it has been quite a while since I read the book.
And maybe this is it. Maybe the father here, maybe that's why he's going out and working on the cars. It's like I got to do something to, ease out the testosterone here. I couldn't deck the guy, but got to do
Yeah,
something mannish.
that's true. Doing it in front of his son, taking out Steve in front of his son, when he really didn't, he didn't see what had happened. Um, so yeah, we got a lot of little subplots going on here,
Hmm.
and then eventually it'll all come together.
I love that the son's
Um,
name is Tad.
Tad. What was the kid's name in Pet Cemetery? Gage.
Yes.
Interesting choice of kids' names. Well, we also have Pet Cemetery, which came out about the same time, maybe a couple years later. I believe I read Pet Cemetery in high school. So this was like junior high, I believe. So Pet Cemetery follows along the lines of supernatural animals in a different kind of way.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so who knows? Stephen King has basically written so many books. He's covered just about every topic. He's done possessed cars, animals, um, of course, people. He's done vampires. Has he done, yeah, he's done werewolves. Um, he covered just about every scary trope there is. Yes, Matt. Once this movie reaches the 45-minute mark, it will actually be about Cujo. We've just got a lot of build up. It's
Well,
just a
look at
typical Stephen King story where he sets the story, sets the tone, and then as he goes through the story, and then bam, it switches.
well, it's just like any monster movie too. You want to see the monster. You want to see the monster doing monstrous stuff, but ultimately you gotta get the stupid human plot lines out of the way first. You gotta have your veggies before you can have your steak.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, we do have a little bit longer to go. Um, oh yeah, there. Okay, Matt mentioned Ed Lauder was in Terminator. We could fulfill our search for a Western and see Fred Ward again. There you go. Also, Miss Swift posted a picture of Ed Lauder as the mechanic in is that okay, so is that the movie Miss Swift? I'm trying to recall that movie off the top of my head. Is that the prison movie where Burt Reynolds was in prison?
Is that the longest yard?
Longest Yard or 40 Yards or something like that. Is
Yeah.
that the movie that I'm thinking of?
I like how Calbot
The
also mentioned
Longest
the
Yard.
mist.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I liked how Calbot in the chat also posted, we got the mist. It's like what if what if one of the creatures of the mist comes out there? What if Cujo comes from the mist? It's interesting how Stephen King, especially when you look at his books, I mean, a lot of his books, or if not all of them, do kind of overlap with each other. There'll be characters that'll mention
Right.
characters from other stories, and so it is kind of like a blended universe of horror that he's built around.
Yes, there's actually a website. I don't know if I had mentioned this before. There's a website that tracks all of Stephen King's crossover connections. Um, and even the show Castle Rock does a lot of the crossovers. This whole big, it's the Stephen King universe. Matt is saying, yeah, the SKU, it's the Stephen King universe. Yeah, so either a character will pop up, crossover, an element will cross over. Um, it's just like all in his head. This marriage is in trouble.
Yep.
Um, but I'm kind of sensing they still want to work on it. And the thing is, they're not like angry at each other. They're not blowing up. They're not hashing it out. We don't see any of that long drawn out drama with them. It's almost like this resigned, we're just resigned to live this way. Is it over? I don't know. Um, we just kind of carry on, address it later, um, until the marriage just dissolves or you work it out. I've been there. Sometimes it doesn't end well.
Hmm. I mean, on the bright side, at least he's got 10 days to focus on his work and kind of let things simmer and process things. And she has the same amount of time. So, you almost might expect to be like, look, when I get back, we're going to talk, we'll hash this out. But for now, let's just, let things lie and we'll figure it out later. And, you know,
Yeah. And I'm
but,
leaving and I'm just going to leave you and your boyfriend, you know. Um, so interesting. So the incubation period, it's typically 2 weeks to 4 months. Closer bites to the head speed up the timeline. So once the initial symptoms appear, prodromal stage, 2 to 3 days. Um, Fear, anxious, nervousness are common. Then the furious stage, 1 to 7 days. That's the mad dog stage.
mm,
And then the paralytic slash dumb stage. That's 2 to 4 days. Um, Muscles become paralyzed, starting with the throat and jaw. Excessive drooling and a changed voice. The dog cannot eat or drink, becomes weak, and eventually suffers from respiratory failure and death.
mm,
So we actually have a long variable stage of maybe nothing showing up. But this is actually happening to Cujo rather quickly. We've seen maybe this has been a couple days after the bite. I
yep.
think maybe 2 or 3 days. Um, And let's see. Okay, so Matt is saying about 45-minute mark. We're at about the 43-minute mark. So here we go. Here's Cujo.
Looking rough, pun intended.
Yeah, it,
Whoa.
yeah, for anybody that has been charged and or attacked or had dealings with a vicious dog, this can be hard to watch.
Yeah.
Um,
Come to think of it, I was hanging out at a friend's place, and they have a large pit bullish mix of a dog, and it's strange because I thought we were cool. I thought he was friendly enough, but I came over one night, and I don't know. He just got spooked and went for my arm. Fortunately, I was wearing my leather jacket, but he still punched a good hole in me that I still got a little scar on my arm from where his teeth were. So doesn't take a whole lot.
nope, and there really is nothing scarier than being attacked by a dog.
Oh
And
yeah,
here we go. Cujo is in the thralls of the rabies, and this and what makes him so scary, what makes dogs so scary is that you can't reason with them when they're in that furious stage, when they're attacking, when they're angry, when they're vicious. You can't reason with them. They will overpower you.
yeah.
Um, it it would take a Hercules effort to get a dog off of you. Um, yeah,
I wish I could
yeah,
whistle
that can be
like
kind of hard to see. Um, yeah, so Matt mentioned, yes, during filming, the dog was actually too happy. And Matt is mentioning such a happy dog, they tried to tie the dog's tail down to stop all the wagging.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I did notice his tail was wagging at the end of that scene there, but you could also interpret it as like he's happy he made the kill too.
Yeah. And this is the rabies taking over, and you're right. It's kind of the thrill of the hunt. But that guy totally just in the wrong place at the wrong time and dealing with Cujo. So he is Cujo's first kill. So as a plot point, we got his wife. This is his owner, Cujo's owner, mind you. His wife and son are now out of town.
Yep.
So I think that was maybe in King's mind when he was writing the story. You can't you can't have the dog attack the wife and the son. I mean, but that would go against Stephen King's writing style where everybody could be a victim,
Hmm.
basically. Okay, so I think he now realizes his dog is to blame. That holy crap moment.
Oh, it just occurred to me. Isn't this guy Ed Lauder, if I remember correctly? Didn't he also play the one of the FBI guys in The Rocketeer?
Was there a mention? Did someone post that?
Yeah, I think it was Miss Swift posted that in Discord. But that was the longest yard reference.
Okay, yeah. Can anybody check real quick?
I might be
Yeah,
whistling Dixie, but
Eric is saying what makes it scary is because we are so accustomed to dogs, most of us would not expect it. I
yeah,
would be more afraid of a bear or alligator, but a dog I would not expect to attack me like that. Absolutely.
yeah.
And it's the unknown threat.
And just look at how he's changed now
But
too. It's just the blood, the discharge, the mud. I mean, he looks like a totally different dog.
and I think they tried to did they try to put any of the foam on his mouth because I know he's drooling heavily and they've got the snot and stuff, the discharge on the eyes. but so far no foam.
Yep.
Oh,
Maybe they thought that was too cliche. Oh, thanks, Cowbot. Yeah, I thought that was true.
there you go. Thank you for checking on that.
Yeah, it's one of
Um,
those character actors. He's kind of sprinkled in here and there, you know.
so the gist of the heart of the story is mother and son in a crappy Pinto. Wait, that's not the Pinto. Yeah, that's the Pinto.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
her husband was
her
working on
Pinto.
it before, but he
Yep,
couldn't get it fixed, and she was going to take it in, but forgot. So sets up a plausible situation here.
yep, yep. So we already know that the car is a piece of crap, and yeah, he didn't have a chance to work on it before he had to go off on a work trip. Yeah, Cujo is scary as hell, but all along he's the villain, he's the monster that you kind of root for.
But I've forgotten, why is she here, or is this the place she was taking the car to get fixed?
Yeah, this is the place to get it fixed.
Okay, so yeah, now it all comes together.
Hmm. Yeah, and this is the place that what they originally went to where she met Cujo.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Miss Swift. A justified reason for the car not starting trope. Yep. So Danny Pintero, yeah, Matt, Pintero in a Pinto. Um, Danny Pintero, at this point, if he was born in 76, he was 6. Holy cow. Yeah. Interchanged in this scene, there were a couple shots of the dog's head that I can kind of tell when it's the actor in it
Yep.
because they make it so fast, the shots going back and forth so fast, so it doesn't focus too much at one point on the dog, because as Matt had mentioned, this dog on set was a lovable dog,
Hmm.
and they had a hard time making it aggressive. So you're not going to get a close up of the dog really being a like his aggressive face.
Yep.
Um,
He's doing a good job of clawing that windshield, though.
yeah.
I mean, again,
Um,
whoever
ugh.
trained him did a quality job, and again, makeup is just really what helps make this so iconic.
Yeah, and you really get the sense that the dog has been to hell and back already. Um, if he's probably covered in a mixture of blood and dirt. Um, but she doesn't know at this point, although wouldn't you get the feeling that, yeah, there's no one here? I think the dog is already taking care of them if the dog is just coming after me. And the heart of the story is they're stuck in their car and nobody knows they're here.
Yep.
The book, I think at least, if I remember correctly, at least half the book, just like we're now about halfway mark.
Yeah.
on the movie, a little over, um, deals with this is the big plot point. You've got a monster on the outside of your vehicle. You can't get out. If you leave the vehicle, the dog will kill you. If you stay in the vehicle,
Heat
it'll kill
exhaustion.
you.
Yeah.
Um, there's what do you do?
Yeah.
Two impossible scenarios, each leading to death. Guys, what would you do?
Well,
Yeah,
I'd like to
go ahead.
think I'd like to think. I mean, if I had someone else in the car that I needed to, you know, keep an eye on, protect, I guess I'd try to leave them in the car, like jump out, leave the car locked, and I guess just try to make a dash for the house. I guess that's the only thing he could do. I think that's what D. Wallace here eventually is kind of forced to do. Or, well, and again, it's been a while since I've seen this flick, so I'm not sure exactly what happens. But she could also, even if the car doesn't work, she puts it into neutral. I mean, she came up a hill. Maybe she could like back up to the road, put some distance between her and them, and maybe then run away that way. Oh, and there he's got some foam or some
Yep, you're starting to
KY
see the
jelly.
foam on his. Yeah, and yeah, the car started and it's not going anywhere. That is a great makeup job on the dog to make it just as scary as possible.
Yep. And I like that shot that we just saw about a minute ago where Cujo is just laying down, looking straight ahead as the camera kind of pans in close to his muzzle and he's just like starting to kind of like growl a little bit. I mean, that was awesome. Some good provoking there.
Yeah, she got a good view of him, thinking that she would escape, and now you're staring at a dog that's trying to kill you. Yeah, Matt is saying, is this a great 6-year-old acting or just filming actual trauma? Yes, probably a little both. Interesting point. Calbot is saying if she hadn't stopped to curse the dog, yeah, she probably, like you said, Mr. Frizzle, if she had just gotten to a point where she could have coasted downhill, even if the car had died, she would have been okay.
Yeah. Or at least given them enough distance, enough of a head start, they could have then made a break for it. Maybe, ran to someone else's house by the time the dog knew what was going on.
Yep. Yeah. Matt is saying, yeah, the Pinto is the true villain of the story. Damn Pinto. This is this is scary and dramatic, and very simple, right? Just a very
Yeah.
simple story. You're facing your monster. You're facing a monster that will kill you, and you're in an environment that will eventually kill you. So you're gonna have to make a decision at some point.
Oh,
Obviously, she has no weapons in the vehicle. That would make it so easy, right? If she had a gun in the car, or a hunting knife, or something in the car, that would have been so easy.
I also like the juxtaposition because then it cuts to the husband trying to call them. He's clearly disappointed. Maybe he's thinking that she's like gone back to Steve, and he goes back into like his posh restaurant, his three-piece suit. He's got a drink in his hand. The waiter brings some lobster. I mean, it's just like such a clear juxtaposition between like where he is, he's safe and sound and surrounded by people and in comfort, and meanwhile his wife and son are just prisoners basically.
Yep. Yeah. That is an interesting observation that King is treating the husband as he's not part of the torment that his wife is going through, but in essence King is like putting her in this position as let me see if I can talk this through. He kind of casted her as the she was the one having an affair. She was the one destroying the marriage, and now she's kind of like reaping what she sowed.
Hmm.
In essence, as far as a storyline goes,
Yeah,
and the husband's the innocent victim in all this, and he's out there safe and sound, and now she's still in torment.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he had that idea in his head when he was writing the characters. And here we go again. Cujo is just that is an evil, monstrous dog right
Yeah.
there.
Well, Johnny Devick is saying this is like a shark movie on a reef. If I'm not mistaken, they
Oh,
did that premise not that long ago. Wasn't there a film with a young woman who was out swimming on a beach or a cove or something? She gets stranded on a little patch of rock and they're in shark infested waters and she's injured and then it's like, kind of like a an isolation thing, trying to find a way to get back. Can't remember what it's called, but I think I saw it.
I want to say open water, but I think that was different. I think it had a
Yeah.
shark in it, but it wasn't that she was stuck on a reef. Blake Lively in that movie that you're describing?
Your guess is as good as mine. Again, I think if I saw it, it was one time and kind of just off the cuff. It
Shallows.
didn't really stay in my mind very well.
Is that the one, The Shallows? Has anybody seen that? Yeah, Johnny Devick. It was Reynolds' wife. I think that's the movie you're describing. Oh, Matt. Okay. She was sleeping with a dirty dog, now suffering the wrath of karma. That is so apropos. She
Interesting.
lived her life lying with the dog, and now she's got to face a dog.
Hmm.
See,
We
it's
should
not
tell
as simple as we think.
We should tell
Yeah,
Stephen King this, and I'm sure he'll be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's what I meant from the beginning." All those
right.
levels and everything.
Right, exactly. That's what I meant to do when I was writing the book. Although he can't recollect writing this book. I think in some interviews he's was so coked out he says I don't even remember writing the book. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, Calbutt is saying it's like the Wrath segment of Creep Show 2, and then Johnny Devick is saying, yeah, Shallows. Oh, Johnny Devick saw it. Yeah, Calbutt, Rick James, cocaine's a hell of a drug. Yes, it is. So I wonder, so I'm starting to wonder just how many books Stephen King wrote while completely out of his mind on drugs.
Well, it's also famous part of Hollywood lore that he directed Maximum Overdrive, the only film based on his work that he directed himself. I guess the only film he directed that he also was just coked out of his head while doing it. So
Yep.
that movie was kind of bananas too in its own way.
Yeah, but he's still got more talent on cocaine than I do in my little finger.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you just kind of shrug. Okay. Yeah, Matt is saying, I want to write an award winning novel in a drunken stupor. Yeah, I'd like to do it just sober,
Yeah.
but there's no way. Some of us just don't have it.
That's why I don't care much for William Faulkner, but that's a whole other discussion here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we could dive into that
No, it's not.
another time. Um, Interesting fact though about this novel, it was banned from a lot of schools because of the content and the way that they um, handled a lot of the issues.
Hmm.
But like I said before, it does have a very different ending, but I won't address that just yet because I don't want to give away too many spoilers.
There's
Oh,
the
Swift is saying I may have seen The Shallows as well, but I may be confusing it with The Reef. So The Reef is a 2010 film. It's also a survival. So is The Shallows. Okay, so The Reef is also while sailing to Indonesia with his friends, Luke's boat capsizes. Desperate to survive, a few members decide to risk swimming to a nearby island, but a great white shark starts trailing them. Okay, so they've been in the car for almost a day. Um, is that you, Mr. Furslow? If you want to turn that down a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the only hope that they have in the car at this point is hoping the dog doesn't break the window. Um, so it's the sounds that are agitating Cujo. So it was the phone and the kids screaming that, oh, this is getting dangerously close to actually getting in the car,
Yeah.
which would be a whole nother level of horror, in my opinion.
And he's even ripping parts of the chrome off. I wonder if that was the dog or if it was just like a puppet or someone in a suit doing that part. I mean, that seems especially, you know,
I think it was
powerful.
the guy in the costume doing that when the dog grabbed the chrome handle. Yeah, I can imagine how hot it's getting in that car. No shelter, no shade, nothing. And then the car is just roasting.
Yeah.
Ah, I cannot imagine. Oh, Johnny Devick. Shallows are easy. She goes surfing at a remote bay. She swims out to a reef, loses her surfboard. A few guys pop by and get eaten instead. Then she swims back ashore. Done.
Huh.
The end. Gone. Which is not the horror that I think the reef um, would have.
No.
Yeah, the reef supposedly the description. It's a new generation shark movie. And probably the one that gets closest to being a horror movie. No, I think Jaws takes the crown.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why you have all those cheesy shark movie spin-offs is Jaws. That's also probably the reason why the studios never bothered to reboot Jaws or try to do another sequel because they probably are saying to themselves, well, market's already oversaturated. They probably think our sequel was just another, shabby ripoff and, we wouldn't be making as much money. That's how I see it anyway. I
Ah,
don't
thank
have any
God.
proof about that.
Not not every movie needs 18 remakes, sequels.
No.
We can just be done. Well, I think what is going through her head right now is I wonder what's going to kill me first. Staying in here, being dehydrated, um, and she's got to save her kid. Um, and there's no way you step out of the car, the dog will get you. And it's just getting a little bit more desperate.
And I wonder, I mean, if she's been bitten, which means that, she's also uh, going against the clock in terms of, her succumbing to rabies too.
No, I don't think at this point she's been bitten, right? I don't think the dog has actually got in yet. She's going to try to make a run for it. So, uh, Matt is mentioning the trivia says weather was actually very cold. They had heaters and heaters were hidden in the car.
Huh. Never fails.
Poor Cujo is not looking good.
But I like that he's just right there at the front. She doesn't see him. Okay, so she did have the windows cracked, so they weren't completely suffocating in there, but yeah, it must still be
Right.
sweltering.
Yeah, so you have to have the windows open, otherwise they would be baked
Yeah.
alive. But then leaving it open lets the dog in just enough, and he already smashed one of the windows. I think it was the passenger side that Cujo already smashed. Oh, geez. Oh, okay.
Well, definitely bitter now.
Yeah, yeah, he's got her. Um, I think part of this scene, I think it's the guy in the costume. But again, sometimes it's hard to tell because you can't focus on the dog for any length of time. You can't do the close-ups. Um, this is, yeah, this is just horrific. Um, but she's able to fight him off. I don't know how realistic that would be. A rabid Saint Bernard dog, and she's still able to fight him off. Boy, yeah, this scene is just a little bit too long for my taste.
Hmm.
It's troubling.
Well, and also because you got to believe at this point, like, I mean, this was about how long Cujo attacked the other guys, and then they were just dead. So for her to, go through the same kind of attack, and she's
Yeah.
not dead, and also not much worse for wear, other than like a bite or two, does kind of suspend disbelief a little difficultly,
Yeah. Just a little bit.
stretch it a little bit.
But she was fighting for the life of her son, but you really, even with all the adrenaline in the world, she should not have been able to fight off what, a 300-pound, 250-pound dog. Um,
Hmm.
and now the true terror is seeing the car spin. I think this is from Tad's perspective in his panic, seeing his mom attacked like that.
Well, it might also been just Dee Wallace. Like she's survived the attack. I mean, the adrenaline's going down, and so she's like maybe her mind is also like spinning and swirling. Just before she loses
See,
consciousness.
yeah, I think that scene went on just a little bit too long for my taste.
Yeah.
Um, Luckily, I have never been attacked by a dog. Um, Luckily, the two dogs that came after my dog last year went after my dog and not me. I'm just by the grace of God. Um, ugh, yeah. Mm. Yes, very good point, Mad Matt. Thankfully, she will retain these fighting skills when the critters arrive. Absolutely. Johnny Devick, one can never be too prepared for critters. Yeah, 3 years later, is it 3 or 4 years later, she will battle the critters. Well, this is a pivotal moment. Um, what is his name? He's gonna go home to save his marriage. He's got to be pissed not being able to get a hold of his wife.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's what was established in that conversation. It's like he's been thinking about the affair, and she said she quit it, but it's been two
Yeah,
days. So I'm wondering if she's more concerned that she's just running out on him again, not that they're necessarily in trouble.
Mm.
So now that she's bit, not only is that wound going to get bad, but now she's got the illness in her too.
Yep. Ugh.
I would like to see if there were any bloopers of this movie where it's like after the attack scene that then Cujo just like jumps up and just starts like licking their faces and everything. I'd like to see
Yeah. And everyone's like, good boy. What a good boy. What
that.
a good actor, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet most of these scenes that you're not seeing his tail, he's probably wagging his tail the whole time.
Yep.
And he's got a smile on his face. Um, can't look aggressive enough, but the looks of him alone, I'm scared to death. So this should be wait, the second full day, the
Yep.
second night that they're there, and they're coming into day 3.
Yep.
Um, no water, no snacks, no. This is pre-cell phone days. Um, they're out of luck. So the rules of filming back in the 80s, um, because Danny was so young, he would he shouldn't have been exposed to a lot of the horrific scenes. He should have been involved in what, a light filming set. Obviously, he got along with the dog. The dog was friendly. So the horror element comes through the editing, some of the screams that we hear, the background music, because we obviously know that the kid's not in any danger. But they really do set a really horrific tone in this movie.
Oh yeah. I wonder if he was allowed to watch his own movie after this came out. Like,
Mm.
did he go to the premiere? Did he get to like watch it on home video later, or was there like a time period that they let it you know dispel first before he got a chance to look at it arbitrarily?
I would love to say no, but back in the 80s, I think they had kids going to their movies, kid actors going to their movies all the time. Um, um, well, there's a note here. Pantera was too young to read the script and relied on his mother to help him memorize his
Huh.
lines.
Not that he has very many lines at this point, other than just ah, you
No.
know.
But I believe there was still a lot of child protections in Hollywood at the time. Um, that's probably the biggest reason why this movie is only about an hour and a half, is because kids that are stars of movies, they're not allowed to be in a movie that was over an hour and a half long.
Hmm.
Um, so I would think that at this age, at 6, he would not have been allowed to watch it because it should have been rated. I believe it was rated R. It was rated R. So yeah, there's no way he should have been allowed to watch it.
Now I'm a little confused.
Oh,
Why are there feathers everywhere?
uh, there was a scene prior. Steve came by, and Steve's
Oh,
the one that damaged their home, and this
so
is
just
what
like a petty
Vic's coming
payback?
home to. Because he's a dick. Yeah, that's like his revenge for calling things off.
I mean, he's getting the police involved now. It's going from just being like sour grapes to like, dude, you're going to be arrested for this. It's like, let it go.
Yes, exactly. And let's hope we have some resolution to it, because that was kind of out of place almost. Um, but I think I know why they had to have that scene in the movie, but I think it kind of gives away a little bit of the ending, and I don't want to give away too much of the ending. Um, oh, Frag Lord over there in Discord put that gif of Tremors. That's the guy from Tremors, right?
Yep.
He's the first one that died as a result of those creatures because he climbed up on what, a electrical tower,
Yep. Great
and he
setup.
starved. Yeah. Um, yeah, Miss Swift, Cujo looks covered with tapioca. Exactly. It didn't look like snot, it looks like pudding. But if it was, the dog would have kept licking it off, right?
Hmm.
So he must have been a really well trained dog. Um, oh, Matt is saying the dogs kept licking their makeup off. So the scene before with the cops coming to his house because Steve went crazy, that I'm guessing was the introduction to this officer coming out here. Otherwise, that is kind of random. Do we know why the cops showed up here?
Yeah.
It had to have been looking for his wife,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and also, well, Joe Chambers and his friend have also been missing now for a couple days too, so could have also been
It's
that.
true. And his wife is gone. She's the one that's been calling him and not been able to get a hold of him too.
Yep.
So that's it. And so there's some parts you could tell Cujo's demeanor while filming was happy. He just wanted to play.
Hmm.
Um, it's hard to be scared of a dog who just wants to play. Oh, and sadly, the officer went to the wrong house at the wrong time and was in the wrong place. Oh, yes, Miss Swift. Jerry Harden as one of the detectives in X-Files. Yep, that's right. He was in an episode of X-Files. Well, I don't know how much longer, how many more days they could stay in that vehicle because we're on the third day. Yeah, Johnny Devick, at least it wasn't his last day before retirement. As so many other movie tropes have it, the guy is so close to retirement. One last case, his last day ends up being his last day. All right, so we have resolution with Steve. So they got Steve for the vandalism, but no sign of the wife and son.
Hmm.
All right, come on. Come on, Vic. He can figure it out. Oh, yeah, ain't that the truth, Matt? Once during a raging windstorm, I went outside to tie things down. My dog was super excited. I was outside and wanted to play ball in a storm. Yep.
Hmm. Speaking of storms, it's really coming down. The snow's really coming down over here now.
Oh, yeah.
we apparently got another winter storm coming tonight, so we'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that one might be brutal. Not as brutal as the one that happened,
A couple
what, a
weeks
couple
ago.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it occurred to Vic where to check for his wife.
Yep.
But we're at a point where nobody outside of this area knows that Cujo's responsible.
Yep. But it is all logical. I mean, it took us a little while to get here, but it's because they were setting up everything so that it largely makes sense. Like why why they were in this predicament, why it took so long to find them, and so forth. So it's pretty good writing.
It was like a perfect storm, not only being in danger, but cutting off your rescue and putting you in an isolated environment.
Yep.
We are down to the last, what, less than 10 minutes? Oh, okay, here's a little general trivia. The foam around Cujo's mouth was a mixture of egg whites and sugar.
Huh. I bet you like that.
And the dogs that were on set were constantly licking it off. So
Sure.
that's why you can't have a full mouth of that concoction because the dog would eat it off.
So does that mean they
Now,
does
good.
that mean that they used more than one dog to play Cujo?
I think two Saint Bernards and one guy in a costume.
Hmm.
I think no more than two. I don't think they had a bunch of dogs. Let's see, how many Saint Bernards on set of Cujo? Well, I'm hearing four or five, depending on the source.
Hmm.
The production also utilized several mechanical dog props and a stuntman, Gary Morgan, in a
Hmm.
dog suit for intense scenes. So here we go. In addition to the St. Bernards, a black Labrador Great Dane mix was used in a costume for certain shots.
Hmm.
So not only do you have a guy in a costume, you have a dog in a costume. But here's the pivotal scene. It looks like she actually got him. And you feel bad. I feel bad.
Hmm.
The dog just became a monster due to no fault of his own.
Yep.
So they did a really good job. If they said four or five different St. Bernards, um, that was a great job getting them to look alike. Although when they covered the dogs in the gunk, they would all look alike.
Yep.
Yeah, Matt is saying she staked the vampire dog. But at least now she can get help.
Yep.
Boy, how pumped up on adrenaline is she?
Yeah.
Man. Johnny Depp is saying, listen to them, the children of the night. Oh yeah, that's a great picture, Calbot. What is the name of that show? Is it Wilbur?
Wilfred.
No, it's Wilfred. Yes, yeah, the guy in a dog costume. Well, just in the nick of time, she was able to bring him in the house. Um, a little spoiler, if you guys don't mind, a little spoiler from the book on how it's different. Um, or should I just let you guys read the book? You want to be surprised?
Hmm.
Because they really did deviate from the book. Yeah, Johnny Devick, wouldn't that be a awesome crossover? Johnny Devick is saying, isn't there an old Indian burial ground nearby? Come to think of it, that would be a great crossover. And you put Cujo in the pet cemetery. Oh, that would be a hell of a crossover. Cool ending to this is she was able to save them both, and she didn't have to wait for her husband to show up. She wasn't like some damsel in distress that needed saving, and she was able to do it. All right, so Cujo is back. Wow. I guess the stake in the heart didn't do it the first time.
Well, the monster, the killer's always got to come back. One more time.
One more time. And we can just pray. Yep, Matt, you did tell her to double tap. Yep. But it would have been smarter for her to take the gun and shoot the dog when the dog was down. But she did think he was dead.
Yep.
Yeah. So she actually did it herself. And now that her husband showed up, it's like this happy ending, and you can just imagine that, it was all the happy ending. They repair their marriage. Um, in the book, they expound on the ending a little bit, but Tad did die in the book, which I think was a very controversial move. Um, and it does have kind of a happy ending after that, which is not really expounded in the movie, but that's why they have this creative license to make the movie that they want to make.
Yep.
Yes, Miss Swift is saying, now get me a rabies shot. Yes. Um, they did expound on that in the book, and yes, she survived. So, yeah, Matt is mentioning that does look like the farmhouse from Critters. I wonder if it was. Because I wonder if it was on location or a set. I hadn't looked into that. Um, all right, yeah, short and sweet movie. Hour and a half, boom. Matt is mentioning it seemed like a 90-minute PSA. Get your rabies shots, get your dogs vaccinated, and it all could have been avoided. Um, so yeah, there you go, guys. What'd you guys think? Um, Very typical of a Stephen King story from the early 80s, I thought.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not
Um,
not great, but not bad. I mean, there were
right,
definitely some standouts. I mean, which we talked about. I mean, the makeup, the dog's portrayal, writing to set things up. I mean, there were a couple things that kind of resolved a little quickly, perhaps, like the whole like Kemp thing. It's like, oh, we got him, so it's like, okay, he shows up and then he just vanishes from the movie, and then
right.
that little freeze frame at the end, I thought also was a little abrupt. Not that there was a whole lot left to resolve at that point, but a little bit more, like another 2 minutes more of resolution, or to set like a stinger up, like maybe the bats fly out and bite another dog or something. They could have done that too, but you know.
Yeah. It was yeah, interesting point. Johnny Devick is saying it's a small movie, limited cast, limited scope. Yes. Um, the book. did expound a lot. So this was a smaller, tighter, more concise version of a bigger, wider story that Stephen King wrote. It, I don't think it's his worst. I don't think it's his best. It's a solid dog horror movie. Um, Probably not one that it's not one I watch on a regular basis. Like Eric says, it was fun to rewatch it again, not a movie I would rewatch again soon. Yep.
Yeah.
Just a very different type of movie for us to watch here. Um, and all right, we're doing really good on time. Let's go into next week's. I've got a couple movies on the horizon. Um, okay, so for next week, we're entering into March. Let's do something I don't think that we have done before. I think we've talked about it. Um, let's go to a movie completely shot on video. From 1982, we're going to visit Boarding House.
Hmm.
It's one of the first that got onto my radar back in the day. Um, it's probably not one of the best. It's not one of the worst, but it's going to be an interesting movie to watch and discuss. It should be readily available no matter where you are. Um, so yeah, on the horizon, I want to get a Robert Duvall movie, um, and some couple other things on the horizon. And yeah, there you go. Short and sweet. Um, all right, let's see some of the end comments. Miss Swift is saying ending freeze frame is like an episode of Murder She Wrote. Oh, Johnny Devick is saying Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, did this also, but there was not a happy ending for the young one there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Huh. Okay, yeah, Boarding House. Yeah, we got a couple of you, Eric, Matt, never heard of it. It's yeah, it never made it. I don't think it made it into theaters completely shot on video, VHS.
Hmm.
Yeah, Miss Swift, a shot on Shidu film? Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Um it's gonna be a dumb, fun, interesting movie to kind of take apart and talk about the whole industry of shot on video. Um and then we'll maybe dive into some other fun things for March. Um, we're probably gonna, before time gets away from me, I want to do a Western, and yeah, we'll get a fun Western for us to enjoy. Let's put that somewhere in March. Um, yeah, and we'll just keep coming here every Sunday, watch a great show, discuss, have some fond memories together. Um, yeah. Any last thoughts, Mr. Furzel, before we end for the day?
No, other than just to say, it was a good watch, fun watch once again. Thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Next week will be fun. Matt, no. Geez, are we going to visit the porn industry too? No. I think we'll pass on that.
Yeah, we
Um,
need to do that.
yeah. Um,
They have
we've
enough
done,
watch parties.
yeah, that would be an interesting watch party. Um, um, yeah. Um,
Thanks,
any parting
Johnny. Thanks,
words?
Talbot.
Any parting words? This has been a blast.
Thanks, Eric.
It's yeah, thank you, Eric. It has been Johnny Devitt, Calbot, you guys are so welcome. It has been a pleasure. It's always so much fun. Even if we're not watching the best movies of all time, we're watching fun ones. We're getting to talk about it and just having fun together. That's
Yep.
what it's about. Um, and the movies just bring us together. On that note, go out there, have a great week, all. We'll be here next week doing this again. Um, yeah, great parting words, Johnny Devick. Don't pet unknown dogs. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, well, have a good week, all. Thank you, Mr. Furzel. It
Thanks.
has been a pleasure. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Be good to yourself, be good to others, be good to dogs and cats, except the ones that have rabies.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, all right. Bye, all. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.